100th episode! That was weird. Everyone listening is like, you're breaking my ear. It's like,
I hate you, make it stop.
It's like when we had the transition sound, everyone's like, I almost got in a car accident.
We're causing people to like walk to work and they're just banging their heads against their desk.
I listened to our episode. I literally dropped my phone. I was like, oh.
You're like, oh, that's so funny. I only made it 7 seconds into your New Year episode. Not New Year, sorry. The reason I was going to say New Year's is these things.
Yeah. You guys.
None of them work.
We're on our 100th episode of Mean Girl Pod.
That is so... I can't decide if it feels like...
I can't decide if I love it or hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 100 seems like a lot. But then,
it's
less than 2 years.
But also, if you look at the grand scheme of podcasters, 100 is still like a baby podcast.
Oh, it's so little. Everyone's like 874, and I'm like, really?
Like, huh?
That seems like so many things.
I'm also wearing old merch.
That was a good idea.
I still love this sweatshirt so much.
It cannot be beat. Remember Stacy, whose boxing class we took?
Yes.
She messaged me like 2 days ago, and she's like, all right, I bought the growing up is cool crew neck. I need the pants, and I need another crew neck. And I was like, same. But
same.
Wait till we find it.
No. If there's anything I could ask for in this life, it would be to figure out a way to mimic these crew neck blanks. You guys, if anyone listening is some type of merch person and you know the blanks we're talking about, it's the Grown Up is Cool, and
I'll figure it out.
If you can find those blanks and help us make more, let us know.
And don't message us and say you can find any blanks because they're really hard to find and you might not be able to find these.
We've been looking for like 20 years.
Yeah, and they're like not out there, but they are somewhere.
Anyways, wow, I can't believe we're here. Wow, have we changed?
We are a long way from home.
Isn't it crazy though to think like,
and by home we mean Barstool,
who we were on episode 1.
Do you know that we look so different?
Yeah, because I look at those pictures and I'm like, who are they?
The first photo of us we're in the Barstool recording office and we have the Mean Girl taped over our shirts and like our mouths are taped or something. We look like we're 25, 22. Like I look at that, I'm like, huh?
No, Alex, you're aging backwards. It's a little freaky.
So are you though.
I look at that picture, I'm like, was that the same lifetime?
And was that the same lifetime? And like the way this podcast was born was so chaotic. That day at the office can give me like a adversarial reaction. And it's so crazy to think how far you've come. Because there's those moments in life where you're like, I don't think we can keep going. But like you keep going.
Yeah. We've had so many of those where we're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
So many like anxiety-ridden Monday mornings.
The podcast hangovers.
Oh, podsiety.
The canceling.
Oh, man. And you know what? This is such a great day because it's like never lose your humor. Right? Like there were so many times on the internet where we had to step back, like the day we pronounced Dale Earnhardt Jr. dead. Mm-hmm. And you just have to laugh.
The day we said dinosaurs were methodical instead of mythical, and that they weren't real.
That clip was buried with diamonds in the rough because we're like, number one, does anyone know if dinosaurs are real? Number two, you hit me with some word that's not right. Methodological.
So the other day I was with my family and we were talking about something. I was talking about the book I was reading, which is a fantasy book, and I was like, yeah, it's like a mythical, and my brother goes, what did you just say? And I was like, oh my God, PTSD from the dinosaur clip. PTSD from the dinosaur clip.
And like when the first clip, initially, okay, you guys, if you're new here, we had this dinosaur clip and it went ultra viral. Let's just give ourselves a pat on the back. So our episodes come out Monday morning. And when we were at Barstool, they would come out Monday morning and by noon on Twitter, every Monday, it was like, what clip did it? And the internet was set on fire. And this dinosaur clip where we're like, do you think dinos are real? I don't know. And then, so initially people are just so mad about that. And then people are like, she said methodical or I don't even know which one you said.
I don't know the word.
And then we hit him with the Big Bang Theory and we're like, I don't know. And then it's like, they're not teaching evolution in Minnesota and Oklahoma. And we're like, most of the time we get the joke. I still don't get the jokes on all those because like I don't know what we were talking about.
I don't either. And then I can't remember, did the hand washing come before or after?
That was the D-Day. That was after.
That to this day still makes me laugh because I'm like, no, I don't.
I'll be in airport bathrooms and like I will wash my hands. People are like, really? You do?
I will be in airport bathrooms and I will look around and run out and be like, I hope no one says anything.
Films you. But here's the good news about that. You've already gotten in front of it. So if anyone's like, Jordan Woodruff doesn't wash your hands, everyone would be like, yeah, we know.
The other day, Pete literally goes, when I say the other day, I mean this was probably 2 weeks ago. He's known me for like 6 months at this point. So do you actually not wash your hands? And I was like, I do if I go number 2, obviously, or if I'm changing a tampon, or if I like have a messy pee. But if I go to the bathroom and nothing touches my hands, I'm going.
Yeah, and like in the middle of the night when I pee, I think you're a serial killer. I'm sorry. If you turn that sink on at 2 a.m. after you took like a sleeping pee and like wash your hands, you didn't touch anything there that you're not touching on the subway. Like you can't make that argument to me that makes sense. It's like you don't need to wash your hands at that moment.
And who hasn't been sick?
Exactly. We haven't.
Us too.
And everyone's like, that's a problem. And I'm like, there are so many problems.
Another clip that will be with me to the day I die is the 666 rule.
Yeah, would you like to edit that?
I mean, I don't need to if you know what I mean.
She's like, nah, I'd like to actually say I would like to double tap that one.
That was literally something that I said thinking it would be the funniest thing ever. And people like hold that against me to this day.
They're like, gold digger. And it's like, 100 grand's not like.
Also, like 6 feet's not that crazy of an ask.
Right. And like, I don't know.
Also, I don't care if you have what size you are. Like, if you know how to use it, you're great. We've already talked about that.
Yeah. So the reference on the 666, as Jordan said, she's looking for a 666, which you said in Aspen. And I was like, huh? And you're like, 6 figures, 6 feet tall, and 6 inches. And I was like, oh, yes. Okay, got it.
Not the devil's number.
Not that. And then that clip, yeah, people were like, there was so much.
Oh my God.
Just so many things.
My favorite one was the vibrator clip.
And here, I'll go there for a moment. Maybe I won't. Listen, I'll just say this. I wasn't into vibrators then, and I'm still not into them now.
Which is fine.
Well, of course it's fine, but it's just like not my thing.
You know why I like that clip though? Because I think that was the most organic, genuine reaction that you, me, and Alana had.
Right.
Where you were just like, never used one, and Alana and I were like,
wait, you're like, what?
It was like the world had just, like we had just seen a ghost.
Totally. And like the cutting to everyone's faces of just like, oh my gosh, I hope the week this comes out, we post all of those. Can we do that?
Oh yeah, we should.
Yeah, we should post the bangers.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
What was your favorite?
My favorite was, and I was watching it the other day, it's the I love NASCAR, and then it's the Alana being like, it's not really a sport, and then I'm like, Dale Earnhardt Jr. died. Dale Earnhardt Sr. died. So like news presses wrote about this one where the Mean Girls pronounced the wrong Earnhardt Jr. dead. But the best part about the clip is Jordan goes, we're not going to spiral about that right now. And like it goes beep and then we're all like, ah. And it's just like, that's why I love content and media because you just watch those clips back. You know what I think the larger lesson is?
What?
People would feel so many types of ways about these clips. And we just loved them. Like, we love sitting in this room and recording, and we have so much fun. And it's like, people are like, they're a joke. And it's like, the joke is on you. Support for today's episode comes from ONESKIN because, J-Dub, now that the holiday buzz is behind us, what is it a great time to focus on?
Skincare, self-care.
That's right. 'Tis the season. And how have you been doing that? Have you been taking care of your skin's appearance? Is that something that's important to you?
Oh, the most important thing in my life.
Like treating the symptoms rather than the root cause of aging has long time been the norm, right? Most skincare available on the market is designed to provide a temporary reduction. But you and I are all for long-term and not short-term results. Am I right?
You are so right.
Okay, so it's underlying health skincare issues, not just topical.
Oh, I love that.
And that is why ONESKIN is so important, and it is like our absolute favorite new things because they mailed us these products and we tried them. We were texting each other and we were like, this is incredible. Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite?
I mean, all their products are so great, but I would say that their face moisturizer is my favorite.
And did you know that the OS1 face was clinically proven to strengthen the skin barrier and improve skin health markers and diminish visible signs of aging. Wrinkles were diminished by almost 80% in the users.
Which I love that because a lot of the times the products I use are just for my dry skin and then they don't help with like anti-aging or anything else. But their product not only moisturizes my skin, but also helps with the anti-aging and all the other things that we need help with our skin on a daily basis.
And that's because ONESKIN is the world's first skin longevity company. Like they're focusing on long-term effects here. And by focusing on cellular aspects of aging, ONESKIN keeps your skin looking and aging younger for longer, which is exactly what Jordan was just talking about. So today you guys can get started with 15% off with using code MEANGIRL at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MEANGIRL. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the show and tell them that we sent you. New year, healthier skin. That's ONESKIN.
It's what makes me laugh so hard is like people always like, you're so dumb. Then I'm like, why do you take everything we say so seriously? Like people act like we are like God's word.
Right. And like we're joking. We are in on the joke.
I'm like, if we don't know if we say 2 + 2 is 5, it's still 4, guys.
Yeah, and we knew it was 4, so we said 5 to rile you up. We're like, there. And it's like, oh, gosh.
We have been through so many things on this podcast.
I would not change a thing, though.
No, because like at the end of the day, like, yeah, there were some things where I'm like, oh, boy, that took a little bit to get over. But it always was fun. It always taught us a lesson and always made us stronger.
Well, I was going to say better because of it. Like, our time at Barstool was not unnoticed.
Yeah.
You know, and wherever we would have been. But we were just like unapologetically ourselves. And furthermore, we were our silly selves.
Yes.
Like we were, you know how you have yourself in a meeting and then you have yourself at home in your pajamas. We were that person online. And a lot of people loved it, they hated it. But I think what everyone had in common was like they understood that we were being silly. And we're still silly till this day. Like we're a grown up version of ourselves. But we like allowed ourselves to be that on camera. And I don't know about you, but I developed some really thick skin because of it.
Oh, 1,000%. There's not much you could say to me that would hurt my feelings these days.
Oh, I'd be like, no, I've heard that.
Also, do you want to know something that's kind of crazy that I just remembered?
What?
Without the podcast, like, so you know the visible string theory?
Yes.
There is an invisible string theory with Pete and I because of the podcast that I forgot to tell you about.
Tell me.
So one of our viral clips that went crazy, and people, you know how there's like, I hate Alex, I hate Jordan, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
This was back in...
Pete commented, I hate Jordan.
No, are you kidding me?
Did he comment, I hate Alex?
No!
Call him.
Back in March of 2022, Pete is, to preface, this is not creepy because Pete is not a commenter. He didn't really know much about us when we first started dating. And he's not like I know I'm like totally trying to make him seem like it's not weird, but like he in a clip where everyone was like, I fucking hate these two, he goes, I love Jordan, fuck the haters. He just found it the other day in his reviews on TikTok. He goes, I forgot that I commented this.
Oh.
He's like, I always remember looking at your videos, but he's like, but I don't even remember commenting that.
Really?
And that was a year, almost 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, now we do love each other.
That's crazy.
I know.
Wait, what?
I know.
Did he tell you that he like had commented that on your first date?
No, so he sent this to me like on December 20th of this year, like a few weeks ago, like a month ago. And he was like, oh my God, Jordan, look at because I guess TikTok will give you like time hops. Like you can go back to be like, what did you comment on a year ago? Or like, what? So he clicked on it because he never uses TikTok and never comments. And he clicked on it and this was a video of us. And he was like, I love Jordan, fuck the haters.
Wow.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, without our podcast, he maybe never would have known me.
No kidding.
Is that crazy?
That's like really crazy.
I was like, you were so lucky you didn't say something mean.
No kidding. He's so lucky.
I would have killed you.
Well, he probably wouldn't have self-reported it.
That's true.
He probably would have been like, oh, I don't know. I would have to at that point. I'd be like, listen, if you find this.
He's like, I don't think I've ever commented on a video in my entire life. And I was like, well,
I'm glad you did that day.
We're meant to be.
That's really cute.
I know.
Oh, that's nice of Pete.
So I was like, oh my gosh, even in one of our viral clips,
You have to stop.
I know, I'm sorry. It's always that or the nail clicks.
I can't focus on anything. She's playing with her like thing. What is that called? An
Octobuddy.
Octobuddy.
I know, it won't stay on my phone.
I know. That's happening to me too.
But so what we did on social media is we went through and we asked some of you guys your favorite clips. So I thought I would read some.
We did that?
We did.
Oh boy, what were they?
So we were like, our 100th episode's coming up. Tell us your favorite Mean Girl memories.
Oh boy.
And this is the number one. Can you guess? Alex dressing up in disguise as a spy on Jordan's date.
Because that was brilliant. Jordan hated it, and it was like my Super Bowl. And everyone loved it. And I had so much fun. I would get so into these outfits. And okay, good answer, everyone.
If you guys are new here, when Alex and I first started the podcast, I mean like week 1 or 2, I would go on Hinge dates and Alex would dress up as usually men, but like crazy.
Like intense outfits, like mustaches. I was full incognito.
Did you have a unibrow one?
Yes. And I would name myself.
Like Uncle Sterling.
Uncle Sterling. I was like Claudia one time. I did wear like a jumpsuit. I had a white afro in one. I had like a hat in one. Oh, I loved it.
And she would go on the date and spy on me.
And I would live tweet it.
Oh my God.
And I would send photos.
And
one guy got very mad. Clifford, he was pissed. He was like, this is an invasion of privacy. I was like, well, we didn't say your name.
And then an hour later, so can I come in the pod?
Yes. Remember, he was so mad. He was like, I'm going to sue you. And we were like, cool. Yeah, like, do that. And then he's like, okay, I'll come on and tell my side. We were like,
no.
You're not invited.
Blocked
Clifford.
That
probably still listens. Definitely still a listener.
I'm so afraid to this day we're going to run into him.
I've only ran into one of your dates.
Oh, yes. I was like, who?
Yeah, I've only done that once.
Another one was the taping down the boner conversation. I forgot about that when you asked if guys did that before massages.
That's a valid question.
It is a valid question.
They don't.
No.
Okay, so the other day we were getting, now when I say couples massage, it's just the type of, there's multiple kinds of, there's layers to couples massages.
Yeah.
I'm not a massage person, nor is Harrison, but there's this 25-minute option. So we did 25-minute massage in the same room.
Different
beds, but like you do them in the same room.
Yeah.
And when we got in there, they were like, there's a male therapist and a female therapist, or massage therapist. Masseuse. And then they walked out and they're like, you guys pick which bed you're going to lay on. And I was like, well, I'm obviously with the girl. He's obviously with the guy. Mm-hmm. And they walk out and he's like, I'm obviously with the girl, right? And I was like, wait, why? And he's like, well, I can't have a guy like massage me. And then I was like, true, but then I'm having a guy massage me. And then he's like, yeah, but I can't have a guy massage me. And I was like, no, I agree. That's like the trump card here is like, a guy, like I can have a girl massage me any day.
Yeah.
But I was like, I do agree the guy can't have a guy massage him. But then I was like, but then I'm having a guy massage me. Are you cool with that? And he's like, I'm going to have the girl massage me. Are you cool with that? And I was like, I'm more cool with that than making you have the guy massage you.
Fully aligned.
Yeah. I was like, because initially I'm like, I've got the girl, you've got the guy.
Yeah.
And the second the door closed, he's like, I have to have the girl. And I'm like, you have to have the girl. And I just never thought about it.
Did you like the massage?
It was great.
I love massages.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys, it's the new year. It's our 100th episode. And what have we been saying for 100 episodes, Jordan?
Therapy is the best thing you can do for yourself.
And it's the gift that keeps on giving all year round, because here's the thing. There's a lot of times when life can be good, and there is a lot of times where life can be bad. So don't let your brain get in the way, because sometimes, and Jordan and I talk about this all the time candidly, we're like, I'm just getting in my own way. Therapy helps you get out of the way. And when you know what you should do, but you're having a hard time doing it, your therapist can walk you through it. Isn't that right?
Oh, 1,000%. My therapist is my best friend.
Absolutely. Like, I think every show, one of us is like this, that, the other. And so if you guys have benefited from therapy, or if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, start with BetterHelp, because it's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/meangirl today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/meangirl for 10% off your first month.
Oh,
yeah, but and so I wondered in that moment, though, I was like, What do you do? But he went face down.
They didn't. I guess in 25 minutes they can't really flip you.
Yeah, there's no flipping. But I thought in that moment.
Did you ask him after?
No, I need to. I'll circle back.
Someone said getting fired. Thank you.
Okay.
Hearing Alex went on a date. Jordan getting a boyfriend.
So nice.
The dino conversation.
That's a classic.
Oh, the episode from Alex's bathtub in Oklahoma. That was such a fun episode. That was still such a fun weekend.
That's a great episode. What did we talk about?
Being the day of the week girl.
Yes. Somebody said this to me the other day. I read it somewhere. But they were like, date the guy that slots you on a Friday or a Saturday. And I was kind of like, yeah. And then I was like, well, assuming that he thinks he can give Friday or Saturday. I was like, in my head, I was playing ping pong with it.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't want to give up that day.
Yeah.
But then eventually you do. But then you want them to ask you on that day. So that is still a very valid conversation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a consistent Tuesday girl. And all of a sudden, I'm like, why am I only on Tuesdays?
But then you're like, do I want to give a Saturday? But you want to be flattered that they asked you on the Saturday. At the time, I didn't really think I cared. But now I think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you do want to be, it's so confusing to be a day of the week girl because you do want a guy to ask you out on a Friday or a Saturday, but then you're like, I'm not giving you my Friday or my Saturday for a date that might not go well.
Yeah. And sometimes in the beginning when a guy asks you out on a weekend, you're like, why don't you have friends to hang out with? Like, I'm not giving it my weekend. I'll be a Thursday girl.
Yeah. And then if they ask you on a Tuesday, you're like, thank you. And they're like, why is it a Tuesday? So you can't really win.
Just don't do it consistently on the same day, week after week.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit. Ask them for coffee.
That was so fun when we went to Sonic.
We had the order clip. Oh my
I
gosh.
got food poisoning that weekend, right?
Yeah, we shouldn't eat sushi in Oklahoma. You just shouldn't do it. Jordan's like, I've been throwing up all night. And I was like, well, we are landlocked.
Corn dogs from Sonic, sushi from Oklahoma.
What foods have I introduced you to? Whataburger. Did we ever get a honey butter chicken biscuit?
Yep.
Honey butter chicken biscuit, Brahms burger, Sonic, French toast sticks.
Yes.
And did you get a corn dog from Sonic? Did you get popcorn chicken from Sonic?
We got both, yeah.
Did you get a soda?
Yeah, we got that
Soda.
too.
Had you had ribs before?
Have I had ribs in general?
Probably.
Yeah.
Did I introduce you to any other types of food? Just vegan and dairy-free and gluten-free past that.
Yeah.
So really bad foods and really good foods, I guess.
Brahms is still hands down one of the best.
So Brahms is your favorite of them?
I mean, the honey butter chicken biscuit, like, the ones that you made were so good.
Oh, I did make you the homemade version of that too.
Those were like my favorite.
Here's the thing. Brahms overall is the best, except for if it's Brahms versus just the honey butter chicken biscuit. That's where Whataburger is kind of superior, I think.
Yeah. Just your trips to Oklahoma were always, our trips to Oklahoma were always so fun.
They're so fun. Oh my God, Oklahoma's just like a little warm blanket.
Driving around. No, the pizza we got was anything special, but it was really good. When the last time.
Hideaway?
I don't remember.
I think it was Hideaway. Huh. Well, it wasn't special, so that's why we don't know. I don't know. I can't remember.
Making Alana sleep with me.
Yes, because you were scared. Yeah, the
Your
house is haunted. The upstairs is haunted. My mom's redoing it. I think it'll look better now. Hopefully.
I threw up. Oh my God, when we did our first Pink Whitney tour. I threw up that night too because we had like 14 Pink Whitney shots.
Oh, I threw up that day. And I mean, like, we are not thrower-uppers. Oh, we threw our guts up.
Oh my God, that was horrible.
Oh, that was terrible.
Meet up in OKC, the soft launch, grilling Pete on the pod, getting fired. The dating story that I told about staying up till 5:30. That was just such a great clip because you were like,
oh my gosh. It's so funny, like people that have come into our lives now. And who was I with? Oh, well, Harrison. And he was like, so he didn't know that you and Pete had met on Hinge, right? And he found that out at the double date. And then the next day, I think we were like talking about it. And he's like, okay, so they met on Hinge. He's like, I don't know why that surprises me. And I was like, okay, it's so funny. How would you have thought they met? And he's like, oh, I don't know, sort of like maybe mutual friends or something. And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, there was this one time Jordan came, she was in the office at 5:30, or she went to bed at 5:30, went out till 5:30. She hadn't slept yet. And I was like, I walked in the office and he was like, wait. That the person I was at dinner with last night? And I was like, oh yeah. And he was like, what? No. She goes to bed like so early, I thought. And I was like, oh, we've lived a lot of different lives and people that are new, they don't know that.
We've lived a lot of lives.
I walked in the office. You had your suitcase for some reason. You were going home.
Yes, I was going to Rhode Island
to babysit the dog, Elroy.
Yes.
And Jordan can drink a lot and not sleep a lot and like doesn't really show it on her face.
That's why I'm sober now.
But I walked in and I was like, okay, what happened? Like your eyes were bloodshot.
Yes.
And you're like, I haven't slept yet. And I was like, well, how was the date? And you were like, oh, I didn't go to bed. I just left at 5:30. Went back, showered, got ready. I was like, but you could do that because you were going to Rhode Island and you were going to sleep like all weekend.
Yeah.
And like hang out. So like, we can do that.
But like the funniest part of the date was like, I left the bar at 5:30.
The bar.
I didn't leave anyone's apartment. I was at the bar to 5:30.
Bar. Like, yeah, it wasn't a shacking situation.
No.
You were just out.
And then I just went home.
And like got ready.
Because like that's the thing with New York. It's like if you make friends with a bartender, they will stay open all night.
And you're not going to be the only one there.
Every walk of life walked in that bar that night. Old men, young women, women, young men, business workers, like I was like, what is happening?
That last night I called you and asked you about the Beekman because what I was doing was just like I needed to go outside for an hour. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll just go walk all these places and I want to see their vibe right now. Like had my sweatsuit on, but I went and walked them. And I'm like, this is why New York is so cool. Because it's a Wednesday night after the holidays. That's why I was checking on the vibes. Packed.
Yep.
All night long. And it's just people love to go out.
That's what the best part about New York too. It's like it doesn't matter what time of the day is, you'll find people. Like if I go to the gym really early, there's people there.
Every hour.
If I walk home, like I remember I went to a concert and I walked home from the subway, which I usually never do, but you know how when like you leave a concert, everyone's on the subway?
Yes.
I walked home at midnight. Where I live is usually quiet. People everywhere.
It's not, people are like, is it scary? And it's like, well, no, because there's a billion people with me.
This was a Monday night. People walking home everywhere. Old men, women, children, like, well, not children, but like
little 2-year-olds. Everyone was out.
But I was just like, wow, it's midnight. And just like, the city never sleeps.
It really doesn't. And it's the best. Like, I sometimes will get anxiety if I'm alone, like in a city. If I'm in like a slow city, you know what I mean? I'm like, what's everyone doing? But yes. That's why I love living in New York or being in a Miami or being in an LA. I'm just like, everyone's doing something. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people around me. And I feel so good about that.
Oh, I do love New York.
It's the best.
It's like so crazy to think though, like we've lived so many lives in 2 years or almost 2 years. 100 episodes is almost 2 years.
Is it?
Wait. We've been doing this for 2 years or 3?
Oh, God, I don't know. I'm not going to know. 100, 48, 48.
50, 50 is...
100, 52, 52. Okay, so a little less than...
Wait, how have we been doing this for 2 years? But I've lived in... Oh, wait, I've only lived in New York since September was 2 years.
Okay, so we're a little shy of...
We'll be 2 years February 1st, I think.
And we'll be low on the... because we'll miss like the Christmas episodes. But I don't know, at the beginning we would put out multiple episodes a week. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. We should investigate that.
We're hitting our 2-year anniversary Mean Girl Pod, though.
How much would you say, yes, how much would you say... What would you say is the biggest thing that's changed about you since start to now?
Besides like relationship status?
Yeah. Or like overall, maybe that is your biggest thing.
I think this podcast has really helped me work through like trauma within a relationship. Because I remember when I first started, I was like, relationships scare me. I'll never get married, maybe never have kids. And now I feel like I have such like a very like happy, comforting thought. Like I love being in a relationship. I want to get married. I want kids.
You didn't want kids.
Like it's healed a lot of my commitment issues.
I forgot I knew you didn't want kids and I knew you weren't sure on the marriage thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you have totally swapped on that. And that happened actually before Pete.
Yeah.
You kind of started to be like, I don't know about the kid thing. And you'd be like, I'm seeing kids on the street and I'm like feeling something.
Yeah, it happened like last April.
Yeah. J-Dub, what's better than clean shaven balls?
Nothing.
Can you think of literally anything?
No, I can't.
Would it make all of your dreams come true if Pete just used Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra?
Yeah, because you know what, AB? He does use it.
And has it helped his confidence?
You bet it has. He's going to be like, why are you telling me my personal business?
Sorry, Pete, but you got to help us help others, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, guys, and girls, and like everybody wants to be cleanly shaven down there, and it's just not always as simple as going to the store and buying a razor. Mm-hmm. So Manscaped has just sort of disarmed the whole awkward conversation around that, and it's like we all talk about Manscaped now. We all want our guys to have it. And the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Body Trimmer and the Weed Whacker 2.0 for the nose and the ear and the hair. Like guys are just so hairy.
The nose hair is huge.
Exactly.
I use it for my nose.
Honestly, and it's waterproof, so you can do it in the shower. So everyone needs to give themselves this new year the gift of Manscaped. And the way you can do that is you can get 20% off and free shipping with code MEANGIRL at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code MEANGIRL. Because, guys, trim the ears, trim the nose, like trim it all. Because we're all just hairy.
Well, and it's like, it not only is great for your partner, but it makes you feel so much more confident when you feel clean and like fresh shaven.
No question.
Like, I mean, for being a girl, I just love like that everything shower where you shave everything.
Yes, totally.
And I know guys feel the same way.
Me too. I'm with you.
They can have their everything shower with Manscaped. And like, granted, I go to a lot of therapy, but without talking with you and like our listeners every week about it, I would not be where I am today. Like, this podcast helped me so much.
That's so crazy.
Because it helped us talk about so many difficult conversations.
Yeah. And then when you talk about them, because here's the thing, like any two people could sit in a room probably and talk. Mm-hmm. Maybe. But when you put it out to the world, I know we joke a lot about like the dinosaur clip feedback, but on the other side of that, what keeps you going is all those messages that are like, me too, you gave me so much comfort.
Yes.
And we're not trying to give comfort, right? We're just trying to be ourselves, which when you're yourselves, in turn, is comforting to people. And it's like, those are the messages that help us.
1,000%.
It's a really good point.
What's yours?
Well,
besides like the obvious relationship.
Ups and downs. You know what it's done? Because I think your point is really good of... Growing up, I never had any of the conversations we would have out loud, like talking about sex or anything like that. I never normalized it. And I always felt sort of like a level of like shame around it. So loving having those conversations with you. But then when they went out to the world, having to deal with people being like, oh, she talks about this. But then saying, oh, I don't care because I'm just being myself. Like it really helped me grow into who I wanted to be.
I love that.
And like that, so that felt really good. And then I think realizing too that it's when you get to a certain level, you kind of have to say, I want to put, it sounds selfish, but like I like talking about it and I'm okay with it and I'm getting pushback in some regard. And this was very early on. But the fact that we powered through that and kept going and just like stuck to our guts, I'm really proud of us for. Mm-hmm. And it always felt right, so it was easy to do. But it was very different for us two girls from the Midwest to do it. And I found it so empowering for us to just be our unapologetic selves, no matter what people said. And so I think it's helped me so much in that regard of just not only being yourself, you know, in a circle of friends, but being yourself out loud on the internet's a whole other version.
I love that.
Yeah, so I find it empowering like that.
Like a lot of people are very sweet and will DM us and they're like, you guys helped us so much, but people don't realize like how much they've helped us.
Every DM. They're like, thank you. And it's like,
no, thank you.
No, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's people that take the time to type that. Because I've heard things that impact me. I never go DM them that.
No, same.
And I don't know why. Probably because I'd be DMing. I do DM Ed Milet like a lot. But it's like every time I read that, I'm like, but Sally, you sat there and typed it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That's so true. I know. I feel like we have the best community of listeners And we're just like so grateful for all of them.
And the fact that, because the biggest question when we left Barstool was, will your followers, listeners come with you? And we found out, because we see the numbers, that the answer to that is yes. And I think that's because we always were true to ourselves, and the people it resonated with stuck around. And the people that didn't, they just, they fly by the wayside. That's great.
Yeah.
And so it's ironic, I think, having the 100th episode, but we're not at where we were born. And where we were born is such a public, specific place. And we're like so far away from that. But the podcast isn't different in the sense of we were always ourselves. And so I think it's really beautiful, like where we were born and now where we are today. And there's a lot of synergy, a lot of overlap, a lot of differences.
I love that.
And it's like a crazy journey to think about.
Oh, it is actually very crazy if you think, like, even talking about these memories, I'm like, wait a second. Like, I forgot that you dressed up for dates.
Oh, me too. I always, and you know what? People they'll still reference that though. And it was only like 4 dates.
Do you want to know what someone said?
What?
Someone was like, can you tell us who Chad was yet?
I wish if we knew, I think this would be the good episode to drop the names.
Still to this day, people like ask us who all our beginning aliases are. No one.
Oh, Chad was at the office.
Yeah.
He wasn't real.
No.
And people felt strongly that he was.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
It's just like these things, I forget that we live that life.
Right. I know. Gosh, I do too. It's funny to think about the time of when we left, because I think we were scared, which looking back on, it feels like that was another life. But I remember at the time being like, oh, well, we're going to have to really figure it out. And it was so scary, but we're not that far away from that moment.
No.
And it's just that saying of when you're so scared, if you just can put your first foot down, like you don't have to see the big picture. You just have the guts to put this first foot down, and then you'll know where to put the second one and then the third one. And it's like this boiling feeling of you got to go do it. And you have no other option.
Yep.
It's kind of nice when life takes away your options.
Yeah.
And it forces you to be like, what are you made of? And you're like, we're about to find out.
And it's crazy too how things, like the things that really make my mind go whack is like, we walked into that office on that day, not ever thinking that you and I would have made a podcast.
Never.
And then you leave and your whole life has changed forever. Like things like that. Or like the day you met Harrison, the day I met Pete, like you don't even think, like that day is going to be so monumental for the rest of your life. But like the days where you have no idea the biggest things are coming or what, like, it's just like, I don't know, I guess like what I'm trying to say is like every day you wake up and you don't know if like that day could literally change the rest of your life.
Totally. And it shows you too. I think when you and I first started this podcast, we didn't know we were in for.
No, God, no.
And I think we were like, we'll see where it goes. Who knows? And while, of course, we were always recording a podcast, the other things that we found ourselves in the midst of was pushback, criticism, momentum, so much fun, happiness, support, a whole slew of things. And we never got in the way of trudging forward. And where you look at where we started to where we've gone, it's like, would have never drawn that line and picked it. But we just followed our gut every step of the way. Even when we were like, okay, we're talking about things that don't make us feel happy. So we would pivot. And it's like this podcast is a direct correlation to like how you and I view life, which is you only live once. So we want to put our best foot forward. We want to make sure what we say into the mic, like we feel good about. Don't care what people think, as long as we feel good. And it's like we've always stayed true to our true north of like never being mean about people, always being honest. And then if we say what's on our heart, then like we can sleep at night. And like we've never gotten away from that.
Never.
And that's like so cool to sit here 100 episodes later and be like, we set those goals and we've never gotten on here and been like, let's burn down so-and-so.
I know, that's the cool thing. It's like, yeah, we've said some very crazy and unhinged things, but we have stuck to our values the entire time.
Yeah, and like us not knowing, if dinos are real or us not washing our hands, unfortunately, that's just not in our value. That's not in our value system.
Yeah.
Do you know if dinos were? I don't know. I haven't seen one. And no, I don't wash my hands every time. So good with that, not a lie. And then outside of that, it's like, well, did you talk shit on your best friend, or do people know who Madeline and Sydney are and they're pretty proud of them?
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
it's like, I love every episode because of that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you're so right. It is crazy to think, like, I remember when we sat down and we kind of like wrote down the foundation and we've stuck by the basic values.
Guys, let's talk about OUAI, because you know what? The best way to start this year and the best way to start every day is to have really good hair. You guys know Jordan and I are so obsessed with our OUAI products because you want to have salon quality hair every single day, and OUAI makes that easy. So I am the biggest proponent of the leave-in conditioner and the detox shampoo because I get a lot of buildup in my hair. Jordan, we know she's all about the hair oil. Every day her hair looks like she just had a real-life Brazilian blowout. So you guys get in on the OUAI movement with us because we are absolutely obsessed. So give your hair a glow up and go to ouai.com. That's THEOUAI.com. It's not spelled WAY. It's THEOUAI.com, and use promo code MEANGIRL for 15% off any product. That's THEOUAI.com, promo code MEANGIRL. Enjoy and happy hair days. Because I think one thing we had to do, because we started out with the Barstool drama stuff, and we were like, this doesn't feel right.
No.
And we can't keep going. So we were like, all right, how do Jordan and Alex keep going? We're nice. We're not anxious about things. Just talking about sex. Are we okay with that? And we had to check ourselves. Still to this day, there's one episode that went out that still gives me anxiety, but there was 1 out of 100.
This one?
That's pretty good, though.
That's very good.
I'm like, 1 out of 100, do I think, I don't know. But other than that, it's like we just say what a lot of people have on their minds. And I feel really good about that. And like, I'm really proud of us for those 100 episodes because I think it shows with anything in life, if you set your values. You know how you make New Year's resolutions and you go back and you're like, what was it? I can't remember. Well, I remember ours because it's so specific. And it's not very often you can look back over 2 years later and be like, I don't think we broke them once.
Yeah. If you set your values and stay true to yourself and you do a little pivoting along the way to make sure they always stay aligned, you're good.
Yeah. I think that's why we're sitting here. It's like we did set those values and we did stick to them.
Yeah, I think so too. And I feel like too, it's so unique to find another person that you can do this with. Like, I think about how lucky we are on a daily basis that you and I have this very, very unique chemistry because like I couldn't do this with some of the other closest people in my life.
No.
It's like this weird, I don't even know how to describe it. And like when people meet us too, they'll even say, they're like, you guys have this very unique way of speaking to each other.
Absolutely. And it's in sync and we don't have to talk to each other a lot.
No.
Like, and that's how I think you are with Madeline, I am with Sydney. You can pick up where you left off with them.
Yeah.
And with us, it's like every episode you just sit down and it's like I could usually guess probably if we have the topic what you're going to say and what I'm going to say. And it's like, it's going to be so different. And it's like the fact that we can take that and move it into working, move it into leaving. Like people will ask me about you and I'll be like, has never, ever one time made me like doubt. You know what I mean? Like the one thing we have is like trust.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't have that with the person you're doing it with, then what do you have?
I feel like trust and communication are like the two biggest things we have.
100%. It's like we'll always just go dead at what we think, what we say. Like we did it earlier today. Like Jordan walked in and I was like, by the way, and it's like, and we'll always have those convos. But the biggest thing is like the protection around just like there was never a moment, personal life or podcast life, where I felt unsupported by you. I think that's
same.
what it would be. Like there was never a time whether I was like, hey, I feel really uncomfortable with this clip. You're like, take it down, and vice versa. Or like, hey, I got to cut this. Or like, we filmed a Patreon episode and I'm like, I can't sleep. And you're like, then it doesn't go up, and vice versa. And then in personal lives too, whatever it was, it's just like, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Just like, let me know.
I think too, it's because we always put the other person's, I don't even know what type of emotion it is. Like your, not like your comfortability, But like, if we aren't, if like I don't feel comfortable, or you don't feel comfortable about an episode, like we don't put the shallow success of the podcast over us being humans.
Right. Because we know that's short-lived.
Yeah. We always put like us being humans above everything first.
And that's why I think we feel safe around it. Mm-hmm. Like you and I both know, even if it's the dumbest thing on the planet, but you're like, I just feel weird about it. It's like, then guess what? We don't have an episode that week.
Oh my God, a clip could go up and it could get 2 billion views and I could love it to death. And if you're like, that clip makes me want to cry every day, take it down. And I know you do the same to me.
Yeah, like if we have to, and I think that's really important around like choosing your craft is saying, I love that you said like we're human first.
Yeah.
And we've protected that though. Like I know that and you know that.
Yeah.
That there's nothing, if you need to send a text, because an added layer of anxiety would be, she's gonna hate me for this, but I gotta tell her I can't have that clip up. Instead it's like the biggest problem is someone has to delete the clip.
Exactly. Yeah. I think too, we just get that this world is so, like you said, could be so short-lived, but like you being a real human being is forever. And like in every aspect of life, you just have to understand that.
Totally. And like long-term happiness, one thing with our generation, social media in our generation is people can sell out or like sell their souls, right? And one thing you and I always did was say, we can't do this podcast if we don't love who we are as people. And we always put that first, but we didn't always know we weren't. So a lot of times we'd be like, I'm anxious around posting the socials. Okay, well it's like, all right, so we've delegated that. And there's all these little pieces along the way where we love what we do, but we've had to pivot a lot to make it fit into our lives.
Yeah. I love that.
And anybody can do that with anything.
Oh my God, yes.
Like if you're not 100% happy, it's like we can get there.
Yeah, and I think people should feel that with a lot of, like mostly every safe relationship in their life.
Yeah, and I think it goes to show too, like don't settle till you're there.
Yeah.
You know, like we had to do a lot of shifting, but you want to be happy.
Yeah, like obviously you and I got so lucky that we were each other's first podcast partners, but like it wasn't like perfect overnight. Like you and I had to work really hard to adjust to the way we communicate, the way we plan, the way we organize, compromise. Like it didn't just happen overnight.
No, it was not like a natural fit. It was like, oh, so you want to do it that way? Okay, well, I want to do it this way. Okay, well, the best way is X.
Yeah.
And we always had to check our egos at the door, too, of just like, this is what has to be done. How are we going to do it? And it was like, working styles were so... Remember at the beginning, we would always talk about how there could be that natural jealousy or like competitiveness between two girls?
Yes.
And we were like, if that comes into this room, like, we will die.
Yes. Yeah, because we are very lucky to say that we are one of the only female duos that have like left a major media company and stuck by each other's side.
And I think the biggest part of that is saying, like I remember early on we'd be like, man, it could get really catty, like because it could.
Yeah.
And we just always kept hammering like, no, because if somebody, and we would talk about it on the podcast too, but like girl and guy dynamics, but it's like, where does that comment come from? Like, where in you? It's like, that was jealousy.
Yeah.
And we would talk about it out loud, and I feel like it gave us so much perspective with the way we operate with like friends, but also with each other, being like, okay, so she's not like that and she knows that. And it's like, we never had to operate out of self-preservation because it's like, no, we both know better than that.
We always knew it was a reflection of our own insecurities if one of us were ever catty towards the other person.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's dumb when people wear these shoes instead of like, you look really cute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to share one quote. Sorry, before we end this episode, because
I think it's cracking me up.
I heard this and I thought of you immediately. I was like, Alex will love this.
Okay, I want to hear
this quote. So it's from Madeline. She went to a woman entrepreneur event, and one of the women speaking said, "Champions adjust." Oh. And I was like, Alex will love that.
I love that. It's the only way.
It's like pivoting, putting your ego at the door, like just. She said that to me, and I was like, that's going to stay with me forever.
That is, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
And they just do. And you know what? I think it goes to show, too, because I think a lot of people are like, I am a champion, but it's like, yeah, but are you afraid to adjust? You know? Or is adjusting the very thing in the way of you becoming a champion?
Yeah.
Probably.
Are you afraid? Are you okay admitting you're wrong? Are you okay changing the way you've done something for 5 years?
We had to check our ego so hard when we left Barstool.
Oh my God.
And then not go to another network and say, 1 second, hold our beer, like we're gonna, and now like we've signed the Britneys and it's like,
Wait, we can say that now.
Yeah, it's like we knew the bigger picture, but at the time it's like you don't just go to another network and you leave and you just adjust along the way. But that was such a fun ego check moment though.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it was just like, okay, yeah.
Wow. There's so many crazy things. But I love you.
I love you too. And there's nobody else I would want to do this with. This crazy Barstool to here, to this, to that. It's just like
nobody.
That was, my greatest joy was calling you and saying, hi, we're fired, don't go in the office. And you're like, well, we have to do an ad. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going because my contract's up, so you go.
And then 10 minutes later, me being in the office and Dave firing me when I'm in the office. Remember that the rest of my life.
Better because of it, baby.
And happy 100 episodes. We love you guys so much. And we're so grateful for everyone who's stuck along with us and for everyone who's new.
Yes, without a doubt. One, come all.
Yay. And here's to 100 million billion more.
Because Jordan's going to make me die on this thing. Okay, that's it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening to Mean Girl Pod, powered by Just Media House. I'm Alex Bennett.
And I'm Jordan Woodruff. So, AB, do what you do best.
If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, rate, and review. We are at Mean Girl Pod on all platforms. Stay connected with us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Snapchat at Mean Girl Pod. Podcast and social artwork and post-production by Creative Evolution Studios. Theme song to the Mean Girl Pod performed by Sergy Asbell. Mean Girl Pod, we're your besties in your ear. New episodes every Monday.